Breaking news, Dolphins fans. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle has been extended by the Miami Dolphins. Chris Grier strikes a deal early in the offseason, shockingly before quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, which we can talk about in the back half portion of today's show, but had to come on here and bring you the breaking news. And if you're fired up that Jalen Waddle has signed an extension, it's a 3-year deal, spam those JWs down below in the comment section. Glad that Waddle, the former 6th overall pick, is going to be staying with the Miami Dolphins for the foreseeable future, so spam those JWs. All right, Adam Schefter had the breaking news this morning, and it is a 3-year, $84.75 million contract extension that includes $76 million guaranteed. So most of that contract is guaranteed, and now Waddle becomes one of the highest paid wide receivers in the entire National Football League, and he creates a dynamic duo with Tyreek Hill, the two fastest wide receivers in the NFL, if you're asking me. And I'm glad that Chris Grier got this job done. We were actually asked on a mailbag a little bit ago, like last week, about who would you extend first out of Waddle, Javon Holland, and Jalen Phillips. And my answer was Jalen Waddle, because in today's NFL, you need top-tier wide receivers. And Waddle, through 3 NFL career seasons, has had 1,000 yards or more in each of those years. So he's been elite right out of the jump after coming out of Alabama. And with Tyreek Hill only continuing to get up there in age, you don't know how long he is going to play. There was obviously those rumors about him retiring after this contract. We'll see how that ends up actually unfolding. But locking up Waddle long-term is very important, if you ask me. And I'm glad that Chris Grier got it done, because if you do plan on keeping Tua here for the long term, well, him and Waddle have an excellent rapport. They have great chemistry, and Waddle and Tua are only going to be able to grow now, and I am very excited to see Waddle continue his progression in the NFL wearing a Dolphins uniform. By the way, quick note on this Waddle contract. We talked about it being $84.75 million with 76 guaranteed. That does make him amongst the top 5 highest paid wide receivers in the NFL once that contract kicks in. And the fascinating discussion that we're going to have is, well, can the Dolphins really put together a winning roster with 2 wide receivers in the top 5? Because Tyreek Hill is getting paid $30 million a year. So you now are paying 2 wide receivers top 5 money in the league, which they are very deserving of those contracts. But it's just going to be a interesting, I guess, hypothetical, or really just experiment to see if you could win in the NFL with 2 wide receivers paid that much money. So I'm excited to see Waddle in the Dolphins offense another year under Mike McDaniel, and to see how he only continues to progress throughout his career. So make sure you are subscribed, by the way, because we did not get into the office quite yet, but we wanted to bring you the breaking news video on Jalen Waddle. So hit that sub button and join the channel, because we're going to have you covered with all Miami Dolphins news and rumors, obviously including a Jalen Waddle contract extension. But the thing that I want to kind of parlay this conversation into is, what does this mean for Tua? Because he's obviously been at the forefront of Miami Dolphins contract rumors and extension rumors, because he is entering his 5th year of his rookie contract, and he has not been on long term. So it'll be very interesting to see how this deal affects what Chris Grier does with Tua, because I have been under the impression that Tua has been the most important, at least, contract that the Dolphins wanted to figure out this offseason, because you are entering that final 5th year. And technically, you would have 2 years of team control left, because you can franchise tag him twice in a row. But that obviously could create a tough kind of angle with Tua, right? He could become angry. He could hold out. He can request a trade. Now, does Tua have that pull? I'm not sure, but at least he has been showing up to OTAs, right? He's been to 4 out of the 5 OTA practices for the Dolphins thus far, and that's good to see. And now you expect Jalen Waddle to show up to some of these, because Waddle, OBJ, and Tyreek Hill have not been there so far, but obviously not too concerned about those guys because they've just been so accomplished in the league so far. So hopefully Jalen Waddle, after getting his extension, will now show up. Maybe he won't show up to the final day of OTAs on Friday, but will be there for mandatory mini camp starting next week. And I think we have to look at what Tua can receive in now this extension talks. I don't really think this Jalen Waddle $87 million extension really impacts the money that Tua's going to get. I would be shocked that Chris Grier would make this move knowing that this could affect the Tua contract negotiations, right? I still project Tua to get a 4-year extension, $220 million, $55 million annually, and probably about $180 million guaranteed. That would top the Jared Goff extension by $2 million on an annual average salary, would also top it by about $10 million guaranteed. And you can ask the question, is Tua better than Jared Goff? And you can answer that however you want. But the facts are that Tua has only gotten better and better under Mike McDaniel and this new offense. And I expect Tua in this Dolphins offense to be the best in the NFL this upcoming year. I mean, you have Waddle, you have Hill, you have OBJ, you have the most dynamic running back room in the National Football League as well, with Jalen Wright, Raheem Mostert, and Davante Adams. So as long as Tua can stay healthy and this offensive line can keep him somewhat upright, I expect the Dolphins to just absolutely put up numbers on the offensive end of the field. And if that's going to be the case, then Tua's price tag is only going to continue to rise as the cap number goes up as well in the NFL. So to me, I know some people are skeptical of extending Tua now. They want to see him win a big game late in the season, in December, in January, in the playoffs, win the AFC East, stay healthy for 17 games in a second consecutive season. I understand those concerns and those wants and needs, but to me, you're running a risk of paying a higher price tag. You can get Tua for $54, $55 million this offseason if you're asking me. He does everything that we want him to do and expect him to do. Well, that price tag's now going to be $60 million per season just a year from now. So it's a dangerous game that Chris Grier can play, and I believe that Tua should be extended this offseason. But let me hear what you have to say. Do you think Tua should be extended this offseason, or wait and see what happens after this year? If you want him extended now, type E. If you want to wait, type W. All right, before we head out of here and really just get a recap of this deal this morning, one more time, Jalen Waddle, 3-year, $84.75 million contract extension that includes $76 million guaranteed. This was obviously something that Chris Grier wanted to do because, well, Waddle still had 2 years left of team control, right? Because he only finished his 3rd year in the league. You get, as a first-round pick, 5 years, especially if you exercise that 5th-year option, which Miami did. So now, Jalen Waddle is at least on the Dolphins for 5 more seasons. You have this year making a rookie contract still. You have next year, which is his 5th-year option, which the Dolphins already exercised. And then that 3-year contract extension kicks in. So Jalen Waddle will at least be in Miami for the next 5 seasons, which makes me very excited because he is only going to continue to grow, and it's awesome. And also this quick note from Adam Schefter, which is really cool surrounding Jalen Waddle. He recorded his 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard receiving season in 23, like we mentioned. He is the first player in Dolphins franchise history to start his career with 3 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He also holds the Dolphins record for most receiving yards in the first 3 years of his career and set the Dolphins rookie records for receptions and receiving yards, which we obviously knew. So Waddle has been just an absolutely elite wide receiver in terms of production for Miami, and it's awesome to know that he got this 3-year extension and will be wearing the aqua and orange for the next 5 seasons at bare minimum. All right, that's going to do it for this video. We'll likely drop another video later today, so be on the lookout with that on the latest trade rumors surrounding the Miami Dolphins. But make sure you hit that sub button. I'm Nic Rohloff. We'll have you covered with everything surrounding the Fins on a daily basis. So go Fins, and I'll see you on the next video.